Hi folks, today is the 20th of May 2023. How are you all doing? Today's video is going to be a channeling with Myra Hindley. For my international clients, in a minute or two or three or five, I will briefly explain who she is. It's probably a very contentious subject, controversial subject. It's probably, well it is, and there's no probably about it. It's gonna be, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not going to say that. I was going to say it's going to be one of the hardest challenges I've ever done. No, I'm not going into that rabbit hole, and I refuse to do that, okay? It was a channeling originally that's been on my radar, I think a few months actually, and I've really struggled to do it because originally when it was placed in my lap, I was like, I really don't think I can do this. Not that it's above my ability, but just the backstory, the darkness of it. And I was like, really? Well, how's it going to go down on YouTube? Is it going to be a cup of cold sick? For some people, I know it will be. For some people, it'll be a really good video that they'll get a lot from. Some people will watch this video and just think, that's it, I'm finished, I'm gone. Fair enough, okay. But I'm still going to do it anyway. When it first arrived, the video work, I just finished the Peter Sutcliffe video channeling, and it was the first ever crime one I'd done, and I really enjoyed it, and we all enjoyed it that watched it. And I said to my guides afterwards, I said, I bet you're going to have me doing these more often, these true crime channelings, and they were like, we are. And jokingly, and I know it's not a joke, but jokingly, I said to my guides, don't whatever you do, bring Myra through, okay? I had my phone in my hand at that time. As I said that to my guide, my phone buzzed, and it was a news flash that somebody had reported, I don't know, that they knew where the bones were of Keith Bennett, which was one of their victims, and they'd done yet another They'd done yet another deck. I'm going to write that word down, deck. Is that a word for an area of moor? Deck, sorry. Deck. Would that be a word? Those of you, if you live around Saddleworth, or if you live around moors, the word deck, what would that mean? Would it mean beck? Is there a beck? We'll write down beck. Is there a beck on Saddleworth Moor? She's off. Deck. Deck or beck on Saddleworth Moor? Hey, we've cracked it. We haven't, I'm only joking. Because if it is, that's where he is. Saddle, how do you spell it? Ooh, I'm going very dizzy. A beck would, ooh, is near water. She's just told us, she has just told us, my geography is shit, right? She has just told us, she being Myra, and actually the last, I think is that the last one? So just remote files. Is that the last one? I'm not sure. I'm not going to start showing pictures. There is a beck on Saddleworth Moor. I'm not going to, because it'll just trigger everyone, because I'll be waiting for ages and I'll be like forgetting that I'm waiting film. It's near water, it's near a beck on Saddleworth Moor. Thank you for that. There you go, she's active. Anyway, well, we're going to look at that. So, deck and beck, okay? I'll do some more little Googling this afternoon on once I've settled from this channeling. And I was like, and that it flashed up that Keith Bennett, because Keith Bennett is the one, is a little boy that I still can't find. And there's been various attempts to find him with both Brady and who was her partner to go, and they can't find him. and it flashed up on my phone, and I was like, oh, God, that's spooky. And I thought, yes, you are going to make me channel Myra Hindley. Anyway, I've mentioned it on my videos a few times, and a lot of you have said, we're up for that, Claire, please do it. I've had a few emails saying, are you going to channel Myra? Because you said you would, and I'm like, oh, I know I said I would, but I'm just waiting for the right time. And I didn't want to do it in Mercury retrograde neither. Anyway, the other day I was doing a text to someone. That morning I got another nudge to do this video, and I was like, nope. And I'm doing a text, I know a text, I don't know, a text message. Luckily, before I sent it, because I was typing away as you do, I looked at the text. There was one word on that text, and I'd been texting a while, and it said Myra. I know, and I was like, oh. And I don't know a Myra. I don't Google the word Myra. I have been over the past couple of days just to get pictures and stuff. And get dates of birth so I can do numerology, but I don't know a Myra. I don't Google the word Myra. There's no way, there was at that moment no reason for the word Myra, phone just buzzed again, for the word Myra to come on my phone. So, fast forward a bit. There was a particular day last week that I went, right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Because any psychics that watch me, clairvoyants, mediums, know that you can't move on until you give it. And that can happen in a reading. You can't get anything else until you say what you need to say. And it's just like doing a reading. You can't actually move on from a piece of work until you've done it. And it was starting to do my head in. So last week I was like, gotta do it. Did the thumbnail. As I went on to Google the thumbnail, it was the 15th of May. And I'm like, oh, it's 15. I didn't think out of the date. When you Google Myra and you go onto Wiki, it comes up with both her and Brady, right? 15th of May, the anniversary of Ian Brady's death. So we've got buzz, buzz, buzz. Phone goes off when she came in to say that Keith Bennett had been found, but he'd not. Then we had the, please do a challenge, please do a challenge, no I won't. So I do a text and the word Myra comes up. The day that I said, right, I'm going to do it, is actually the day of Ian Brady's death, which was 15th of May. You can't make it up. You cannot make, and I had no idea because I don't want to bring Brady in. You can't make that up, can you? So we're here. This is not a trip down Ghoul Lane. This is not a whodunit kind of thing. When I do, if you're new to my channel, you're like, what the F are you doing, Claire? You're channeling a criminal here. I know, that's my doorbell going. Sound effects. That's Gary saying, is that Gary? Who's saying hello? You can hear male voices in the background. That's Gary and a car hire company, okay? It's not Brady trying to connect. It's a teaching. We're going to be looking at her, we're going to be looking at why women kill, we're going to be looking at women in abuse, we're going to be looking at the damage divine, we're going to be looking at also, it's a teaching. These videos help me, they help you, they help humanity. They're also a healing portal for all concerned. So let's get to it. Myra Hindley was a child killer and abuser. She was in a relationship with a man called Ian Brady. They were based around the Manchester area. Phone keeps buzzing. It's going to be an interesting one, this. She was born on the 23rd of July 1942. She died on the 15th of November 2002. They were known as the Moors murderers. Her numerology, so I'm looking down because I've got it written down. Her numerology is 28. I got it down to 10, which is takes risks, strength, determination, and 1. When you take 10 down to 1, the self. And honestly, if you know the story of them, the self-absorbed. If you're a numerology 1, please don't be offended. I'm bringing out that aspect for Myra because it can work out in many ways with many people. That deck and that Beck, that is near water. So I'm just looking down at my notes. Sorry, I know I just want to stay right grounded with this video. I don't want to start. Do you know what I mean? So Keith Bennett, let's go straight for it. The other day I went for a walk because I do live in the country now, And I was like, okay, Myra, why can't we find Keith? Because obviously he's a little boy that is the only one they can't find. And they've tried numerous ways. I'm not going to go into the backstory of all of this. Number one, I don't want to bring that heaviness in. And number two, I don't want to turn into Wiki. This video isn't about Wiki. So please go off and Google it if you don't know who Myra is. I don't want to start naming all the victims neither, because with the situation like this, it can be very easy to start bringing other spirit in, okay? I don't want to do that, if that makes sense. So they were child killers, child abusers, and they buried their bodies on the moors, okay? And that's all I'm going to go into. So I went for this walk and I was like, Myra, why have we not found Keith Bennett yet? And one of the things my guide said at this point was, some people do not want to be found. When there's been an horrific death, and even if they've been buried under dark circumstances, it can actually be quite traumatic. Sorry, itchy throat. It can actually be quite traumatic for the soul, especially as a child, to have it all dug up. And my guide reminded me of Richard III, who I've also channeled on here, when he was brought up to the surface. Because when a famous body is found after years of intrigue, where are they, where are they, where are they, especially one as sad as this, it's going to bring up a lot of history, a lot of trauma for a lot of people, for the soul, for the family, for the blood family, the energetic family. And it isn't, I'm actually sensing Keith's energy now, and it's actually not the right time for that, and it can cause a lot of pain. There is a right time to find a body, and that may frustrate us in a lot of ways, being humans, thinking, why can't you find a body? And it must happen at divine timing. So then I felt Myra's energy come through, and this is how she explained it. And I actually have had this happen to myself. What she said was, some of this is really blunt. This is not me saying it. This is Myra. When you're an abuser, your victims are faceless. Okay? You don't see the victim as a human being, whether it's a child. These are not my words. So you don't see them as a human being. And she actually related it back to like my work, or if you see a lot of clients or patients and someone says to you, remember the client with the red scarf or the red top, and you may be like, God, I can't remember. Because it can all merge into one. And it's the same with abusers. When abusers abuse a lot of people, it's not about the personality of that child. It's not about the soul of that child. It's not about the individual energy of that child. It's about abuse, control and manipulation. So they become faceless. It could be anyone you're talking about to her, okay, in that lifetime. Sorry, my voice went then. Also as well, this also affects that when you go off onto the moors, we've all been the moors. If you're international, go Google what moors look like. It's vast, bleak landscape covered in heather, peat. It's vast, it's gloomy, doomy, can be beautiful as well. She's actually seen a lot of those bodies were buried at night time. They're buried at night time. They were buried under inebriation, so sometimes they've been drinking as well. Times when they were wired, she's talking about being wired energetically and sexually. And I'm sorry, honestly, you're going to just have to white knuckle this with me, okay? All of that together, and this isn't an excuse, because I know that I'll get, well, that's just an excuse. It's not just an excuse, it's an actual fact. She said it's like being on a night out. When you've drunk a lot, you're high, you're on adrenaline, maybe you've taken something. People can get like this. When you've got that certain personality where you go really hyper or wired, if that's the word, you can forget, and it all merges into one. Coming back from that, land does change, and your perception of land changes. And I was out walking the country, and she says, you could come back on this walk tomorrow, Claire, and your lens in your eyes will see it differently. And it sees it differently in different lights, different temperatures, different weathers, different sunsets, sunrises. She said this field, a field alone can change in many different ways, and the land changes, especially with moors and the peat. So I was also then reminded of a walk I did years ago on Haworth Moor with my brother Eddie. We went from the car park at Penistone Crag over to the Bronte Falls and then up to Top Withens. And we got to Top Withens and we were fine. Really loved it, absolutely loved it. It was an amazing day, loved it, absolutely loved it. And I said to Gary, I think it was last year or year before, let's just go for a walk to the waterfalls. I know where we're going. I've done this walk before. I've done it with Eddie and I can take us right to it. I'll tell you where to park. So we got there, forgot where we parked, didn't I? Couldn't remember where we parked, couldn't work it out. We started to walk across the moors. I'm like, this isn't the right way. And I'm like, honestly, I cannot even understand where I'm going. And I got us kind of lost and it was just stupid. And I got to the point where we go down this hill towards the Bronte Falls and the ground had, I don't know, it had changed. And it got to a point where I actually couldn't go down because it had been raining and it was just weird. And I got quite anxious because it was like, I've been here before, I really enjoyed the walk, I've got back to the moors and I can't remember where we went. I can't remember the paths we took, I can't remember it had just all gone. And I remember at the time thinking, I wonder if this is what happened, because they took Brady and Myra back to the moors to see if they could find Keith Bennett. And they couldn't. And I think that is when I actually believe what she says about that, because I've had that experience myself when you go back to an area on the moors and it's changed. Also as well with the fact that I don't feel that Keith wants to be found at this time. But what Myra said to me earlier was that there is going to be a lifetime that Ian Brady comes back, and he comes back as a police officer. And I'm actually not thinking this is going to be in our time. I think this is going to be 100 years after, I'm hearing 100 years after the case. It's going to be quite significant around the date. It's all going to be very, like this reading has very spooky way, dates and times, and it's all going to fit into place and happen organically. But it feels as though Ian Brady reincarnates into being a police officer and he comes back and something is called case that's opened up, or it comes up in some way, and Ian, as a new incarnated soul, is able to find him. And people will be like, God, people have tried for years before, hundreds of years, 200 years to find this grave, 100 years and all of a sudden this new police officer finds it. It's because it's in his soul DNA. Okay, so I don't think that's going to be in our time, in our timeline, in our time. Okay, so talking about Keith, anything else I want to cover before I move on? No. Do we stay with Keith or do we move on? Before I go any further, before I started, I pulled 2 cards for her and I said, give me a card to just let me know you're here. And I got the Hanging Man. And I must admit, I thought, and I was a bit stumped. I was a bit stumped with it, and I'm like, I thought, is this Brady she's talking about? And I thought, I'll just leave it on my desk. It doesn't have to mean something right now. But then I got the door to personal healing and happiness. Okay? And I looked at it and I thought, yes, it makes sense. The hanging man, the gallows. In the life as Myra, because of her crimes, and rightly so, she was persecuted. You know, you say the word Myra Hindley in the UK, even today, and you'll get, whoa, that kind of a reaction, honestly. It comes with a lot of darkness, that incarnation. So the hanging man, the life as the hanging man, the life on the gallows, the public gallows, and this video and where she's at now on her evolution of consciousness, because everyone's going to be going through this, it is now daughter personal healing and happiness, which is one of the reasons why I'm quite happy to do this video. I never channel spirits that are newly departed or that are traumatized, okay? So you wouldn't find me channeling someone like Nicola Bulley at the minute, because there's too much trauma, it's not ethical, and it just leaves a really bad debris. So with Myra, it's different. So, the deck. Let's take some water. The Beck and the Deck. I am feeling Keith, and I wasn't going to bring in any of the children because you just don't, okay? Unless a child comes forward. But how I'm seeing him is he's got this golden light around him. So he's well protected. Let's just tune into it for a minute. Let me just see if I can scan them all and see if I can. It's going to be no help to anyone, this as well. This is why clairvoyance gets such a shit in at times, because none of what I'm going to say right now is going to help. Okay, just not. It's just not. As I'm seeing it now, the place where he's at is near a beck, so it's near water. And I want to say the mound, there's a slight mound. I'm walking across the moors. I'm noticing an area of moor that is different energetically. There's flowers over it growing organically. These flowers are just growing. It's almost like, imagine a walker walking across the moors and they're going, isn't it weird? Walking across the moors. There's wildflowers. There's flowers growing there. The flowers are from the seeds of heaven, because I know Keith Bennett's mum has passed, and now I'm seeing Keith Bennett's mum going there, and she's planting these energetic seeds into, I am going so cold, into this mound, into this grave. She has found out where she is, where he is. Myra's coming in and she's showing me grid references. I know, frustrating, I know, grid references. They all know, those that have passed know now where he is, but physically we're not meant to on the earth plane. I'm feeling as well, I'm hearing there's a lot of trauma within the Bennett family, and it just would be, I know this sounds stupid and I know it sounds random, why would not finding their loved one be a good thing? But it feels as though it would actually cause more pain within that family. When his mother passed over, part of her transitioning, healing and life review was eventually, once she got to a nice equilibrium, was to work with Myra as part of her healing. So, where is he? So, he's near water. Beck. Deck could be a word. There's a reason why I said deck. A deck could be slang for something. I'm seeing a sign, you know, one of those wooden signs on walks where there's arrows pointing places. There's one of those near it. When he was there, Brady dropped some jewellery there. He's dropped something. I can see a watch. Oh, that could be symbolism for something. But there's something of Brady's that's fallen near the area. We may never find it. I'm just saying what the things that I'm picking up. There is reasons why that body can't be found, and I'm not going to go into gruesome detail. There's reasons why I think it's got to stay buried until the right time. Will it ever? Will Keith's body ever come up? Oops. I'm going to be blunt. They could do it now if they wanted. But money and the powers that were said no. It's money. And cold, I know, it's money. That's why they're struggling now to do it. It needs a lot of, I don't know, but it needs a lot of money to find it, to put the boots on the ground type of thing, to reopen it. I mean, that's cold. I'm hearing it doesn't suit them at the minute. Suit them as in the powers, that the people that would find the body. But when Brady comes in as reincarnation, I think the game changes. Because for Brady's soul, he needs to do this to clear it, if that makes sense. So when he reincarnates and he comes back as the police officer, 100 years after the event, I'm feeling, 100 years after the event, at least 100 years. Oh yes, thank you. Balance will be restored to the police finances and heartbreak, time to heal. 3 of Swords. So that's when he'll be found, and it'll be the reincarnation of Brady that does it. Right, so let's move on. Where are we going to go next? So, the thumbnail I'm using on here, they see I put a picture of her last night, and I remember it was one of you actually put, God, that's a nice picture of her, Claire. And the reason why I've put it on, and not the traditional, the reason why I shared that picture last night, not the traditional Myra Hindley picture where she's very serious and she's got the bleached blonde hair and she's just dressed in black, is because I wanted people to see her as a normal woman. And the reason for this is because it can happen to any woman in any lifetime, okay? And also as well, we get this thing, we all do it, they look nice. And in this, I'll show you it. They look nice, don't they? You know, she looks nice. She looks a nice, well-kept woman. And actually, this is a big thing that we're meant to be learning in these lifetimes, where actually we need to look deeper. So that's the picture that I shared. She does. She looks like the woman of her time. Pearls, jumper, hair done, makeup, eyes done. And then you see, whoops. It's about as well. That's deep. How many women get up every day and they put the full face on, we get them dressed up, but down inside us, all of us, I'm not saying the trauma of a child abuser, of course I'm not, but all the lifetimes where we have been abusers, all the lifetimes where we've been the murderer, the attacker, all of it, because you've been everything. Don't be fooled to think that you've just come down and you've always been the good guy. You've been everything. And this is about actually going down and doing the work, going down the layers and clearing the layers, and understanding as well that everything is multidimensional. We as humans want a straight answer for everything, and you're not going to get a straight answer for everything because everything is complex. So let's bring her in. I'm going to say let's bring her in, but she's already in, isn't she? She's been dropping hints about where Keith Bennett is, but let's do it. She's pointing down. She's pointing down. She's on the moor, she's pointing down. I think my guides are going to move it away from there so it doesn't get too, the energies. Where we're going to, that's interesting. It's like, well, where are we going to put her? Because we can't put her in a park, we can't put her on a beach. It's like, what do you do with Myra Hindley? Because if this was any other soul or spirit, we're like, should we set up a beach for this? Should we do it in the woods? Should we do it? And it's almost like nobody wants, and that was it when she died, nobody wanted to cremate her. Nobody wanted to be the one to cremate her because then they'd have to clean all, and then the people that get cremated afterwards, there'll be fragments of Myra Hindley going in with your mum. And it's almost like God, where do we put Myra Hindley? What do we do with Myra Hindley? Woods, that's what we do. So we're in the woods. We're in a woodland. She's stood in bluebells, surrounded by bluebells. There's Archangel Michael, and he's beaming his blue ray onto her so that it's protected, it's safe. Her hair, it's very much like that picture I've shown you, but it's longer. It feels softer as well. It's like that style, but it's longer, round about to here. But it's still like bouffanted, if that makes sense. She's got a red dress on. It's like V-neck here. Very, she liked, I'm feeling she liked to dress up. She liked to dress up. It's a dress that goes in at the waist and out. White shoes, white heels. There's a dog with her as well. Not sure if this was, she had a dog. There's a little dog with her. She's got it on a lead and she's holding it. So, where do we start? I've got some questions on my pad. Toxic relationships. Where are we going to go to? Toxic relationships, toxic love, what makes a woman kill and abuse her as women. So, where do you want to start? It's almost like the stage fright there now. She actually shared this one before I came on camera. There's going to be another future incarnation for Ian and her where one of the children that they killed reincarnates with them as their child. You're joking? No, I'm not joking. This happens. And this child will be born with extreme anxiety, extreme mental health issues, extreme all kinds of things, behavioural issues. And there's obviously they're not Ian and Myra, but there's those two have reincarnated as different people, different parents, different names, different parts of the world, and they're looking at this child and it's like, what's wrong? This child hates their parents. Do you see how this makes sense? Karmically, how what you've reaped in, what you've sowed in one lifetime, she then has to reap in another lifetime, in a future lifetime. And it's almost like a lifetime that she's dreading, as you would dread, because obviously karmically it's going to be heavy. The child that you abused in another lifetime comes down and you then got to be that parent to that child who's damaged, and it's the damage because of what you did in a past life. And I think one of the reasons why she's sharing this is because this happens to a lot of people. You know, in families where you'll get one family member that hates the family, or you'll get this happens, this just happens karmically, maybe it's something to take note of. There's always a reason past life wise why people are like they are with certain people and certain dynamics. So toxic love, Myra, do we start with? First question, what made you who you were in the lifetime as Myra Hindley? What made you who you were in the lifetime of Myra Hindley? Lack of love. She's taking me back to her childhood. She said as a child she was exposed to way too much. I'm seeing her as a child being aware of when her parents are having sex, coming together. She's aware of it. She can hear it. She can see it. There's something with her parents being very over-sexualised around her. I'm here seeing the word domestic violence. She's giving me the word domestic violence. She's showing me as a child being slapped on the head, one of her parents, it feels like her dad. You know when parents slap, I mean they don't do it, slap the child around the head, the top of my door. She's showing me that. So there's some type of brain damage there. Discernment damage. Not brain damage that would be seen, but what she's showing me is a child's head. And when people give you a clip round here, it was that generation. Awful generation, actually, to be honest. You know, what was it? Spare the rod. Anyway, all that kind of stuff. And it was like, oof. So that's causing damage to the brain. That's picking up entities, picking up lack of love, picking up abuse. It's normalising it. So then when I meet Ian, it's normal. It's normal in the world of Myra, because that's your example of love. It's normal. That narcissistic, sociopathic, psychopathic love of... It's now being shown her and Ian, and it feels like that was physical as well. Why did that? That was like a physical where probably domestic violence, playing mind games with her. Okay, you know when you have a physical relationship with somebody during intimacy, their energy transfers to you and vice versa. It's one of the ways that entities can transfer you. Okay, just is, okay. So whoever you sleep with, remember this, because you can absorb, you just do. And the same with you as well. And this isn't Myra saying, I'm innocent, it's Dad's fault, it's Ian's fault. She's showing you how it is. This transference of energy. So you get this little girl abused, all kinds of things, exposed to too much. She's not got the discernment tools. She's possibly got damage to the brain because of being smacked as a child. And she meets this, I'm hearing the word debonair. That's not one of my words, that's a word, debonair. Debonair gentleman, well, he's obviously not a gentleman, but a debonair man would be someone that wears a suit. He's debonair, he's a jack the lad, okay? And he's narcissistic, sociopathic, psychopath, an abuser of all, I'm hearing of all creatures, okay? Abuser of all creatures. And it's almost like mixing that cake, all those different elements of that cake going in, so that's how you ended up with that situation. And I'm hearing somebody say, so Myra, if you were abused as a child, and I'll ask this, if you were abused as a child, why you then go on to being a child abuser? I'm hearing the word programming. There is no excuse for it. She's saying there is no excuse for it. There is no reason for it. There was no hope. She's also showing me, because of her own upbringing, this anger towards children. And if you look at a lot of the victims, they were cute little kids. They were cute little children. I mean, all children are cute. Apologies. Oh, but these children had this real angelic frequency about them. They had these... There was something with these children. They were of light, these children. And when you've got someone that's been abused, a child that's not had love and nourishment and kindness and compassion as a child grows up, it was almost like a red rag to a bull. Apologies. You may want to do this video in bite size, okay? So it was like a red rag to a bull. Someone just tapped me on the shoulder. It's like my guy's like, it's fine, Claire, it's fine. It's like a red rag to a bull. We asked her, she's been honest. Let's pull some cards on it. She's saying it's sick, isn't it? It is sick. I'm using the Tarot Grand Luxe by Ciro Marchetti. Two of wands. Oops, one's just, three's just fallen out. Yeah. King of Cups at the bottom. King of Cups can be a really nice gentleman, or he can be a emotional wreck. Also a drinker. That's the dad, the drinker. Sorry, I'm doing it, it's just deep. Two of Wands, Six of Swords, and the Moon. Okay. If you're watching this and you've had a similar upbringing to Myra, get help. Do not think, I'm getting passionate about, maybe this is her, maybe she was a very passionate, very abrupt person. Do not think that you can do it alone. Do not think that just because you feel all right in yourself now, that this isn't going to be something that explodes later down the line. Because it will only take the wrong relationship or the right relationship, depending on how you look at it. She's now showing me Maxine Carney and Huntley to light up that darkness within you. Okay, so the darkness was within Myra from the childhood, from the abuse. She's now showing me Ian Brady lighting a match, where they take it on the match and they light the match, and that's what lit up her darkness. And now he's showing it in front of Myra, and it's like he lit up the darkness within her. It was already there before she met him, so this isn't about it was Ian's fault. It was already there, but it only takes one wrong partner, one child. You know, she said a lot of people have this within them on some level. So say if you're in a loveless relationship and your best friend tells you, I'm getting married, he's proposed to me. People do feel it. Or say you can't have children and your best friend says, guess what, we're having a baby. Deal with it, honestly, because this shit is real. And it will only take that spark, that Ian Huntley, maybe the same, dualistic lifetimes, maybe I'm going to have to look at that. It will only take that, maybe Maxine Carr, I think, was quite similar, to light that up. When I say light, I don't mean I mean to light the darkness up, okay? So it's getting healing. It's okay with these situations in the world where we throw our rotten tomato energy at them and, ew, Myra Hindley, we've all done it, I did it, Ian Brady, I don't want to talk about that on a YouTube channel. But actually, if we don't, we're going to end up causing further problems down the line. She's showing me these type of situations. She said, if you could actually look and take a bird's eye view of your country and look down at these situations that are manifesting, that just because we're not seeing them on the news, I wonder why that is anyway, moving on swiftly. Just because we're not seeing all of this on the news like we used to do, doesn't mean to say it's not happening. The family, and I feel as though this card is representation, moving through troubled waters, the toxicity around them, having to navigate all these different swords, addiction, sex addiction, trauma, abuse, all of it. And she says people are doing it, and it's almost like the moon. Nobody wants to look at the underbelly of a family. Nobody wants to look at their own underbelly. No, I don't want to look at that. Watch news instead. I'll do something else. I don't have to watch it. But anyway, that's the message for that. Oh, do you know, this feels like there's so much to get through. More cards, Myra? That's just Gary next door tapping on the wall. Yeah, it is. What makes a woman kill? Toxic love. Why do you keep bringing in Ian Huntley and Maxine Carr? Why do you keep bringing in Ian Huntley and Maxine Carr? I'm hearing because they are one and the same. Three of Pentacles. Death card at the bottom, right? We've got the male, Ian. Wait a minute. They're both called Ian, aren't they? Ian Brady. Yeah. Sorry, my mind's going... They are, aren't they? Ian Brady. I'm sure it's Ian Huntley. It is Ian Huntley, isn't it? I need to Google this because I need to be sure. They're the dualistic incarnations. It's the same soul. Just sorry, I just need to, because so when you channel, you're dealing with that much that your brain can go blank on the physical world, if that makes sense. Ian Huntley, where are you? It is Ian Huntley. Look at your picture. Right. So that's Ian Huntley. He was a child killer. Very similar story, actually. The dualistic lifetimes. This all happens. You're not just here in this incarnation. You'll have many different incarnations going at the same time. Ian Huntley, it's the same person. It's the same person. It's someone. I wish I could. I'm going to stop bitting about. But it's the same person. So, I'll now show you Maxine Carr so you can see that. I mean, I know most of my UK, all of my UK will know who these people are, but I know my international ones won't, probably. Don't think. See what I mean? Right. So, I'll try, if I remember, I'll look at that lifetime thing, past life, or alternative lives. So, we've got the Ian Huntley, Ian Brady, okay, or any other man out there, Three of Pentacles, doing his abuse work. Here she comes, the woman, and a lot of these women will say it was him. Eventually they'll say it was him. I think Rose West did the same. They'll say it was him. It was him, they did it, it was all them. Okay, fair enough. The vast majority of, actually I'm hearing with the masculine energy, a vast majority of it is. Anyway, but they're pretending to be the trapped one. There's always a choice. There's always a choice. There's always a choice. Okay? There's always a choice. So, this is about the divine feminine finding her choice. It starts on the night out, when you go on the night out. In the office, when you meet them in the office. It starts when the red... It's even that as well. The red... I wouldn't say it starts when you start seeing the red flags. She's got the red flag around her. The red flag, rather than going, oh, he's not right, him. It's not right. And you can sense this early doors. We've all been in these situations. I know I've actually dated men that were not very nice people. And you see those red flags early doors, you think, it'll be fine. I'll love it out of him. I'll change him. I'll make him a bit, he needs rescuing. That kind of thing. We've all done it. The red flag then becomes your prisoner. Your prisoner? Is that a word? Prisoner? You're then tied up with your red flags. Those red flags that were sent to show you, nah, I'll ignore that, I'll keep going. But actually the power of this is also in the divine feminine. The wives of these boys, the wives of these husbands, the wives, and this isn't that men, it's just men. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's about the divine feminine rising and the divine masculine rising. It's about the mothers noticing early doors what's going on in her household. It's about fathers early doors. It's very much like what Mrs. Cray said last week, and about the divine masculine as well. Wow. It needs to stop, the death card, it needs to stop. Now she's, is this because I've been mentioning, why am I seeing the nickel money case? Maybe there's some stuff to come up with that as well. Anyway. So, show me the connection between you and Ian Huntley and Maxine Carr. Show me what it is in cards and then we'll... The Lovers. It's the same souls. It's the same souls. They're the same. And the similarities of that case is unbelievable, actually. Loss, the divine feminine. So, how's that, Claire? How can Claire, and this is a question I know it's going to be getting asked in the comments, I'm going to answer it for you. So you're telling me if Myra Hindley is still alive when Maxine Carr is born, how was that? Because number one, time is not linear. And number two, souls can choose to triple reincarnate, quadruple reincarnate. So I am sat here as Claire, but I could have 10 other incarnations going on at this time. Maxine Carr and Ian Huntley are the reincarnations, the same soul or essence of, and it's the cards are very, very clear. They're also representing, because guess what? We saw the Ian, we saw the economy, don't we? Then we saw the Ian Brady, Myra Hindley thing, and you know what? We still didn't learn what we needed to learn from that. So it comes again to show us, to highlight that. It wasn't just about highlighting about child abuse, which is horrific. It was also about highlighting about women and abuse, women with abusive partners, women, God that's awful, women goading abusive partners, women getting a kick out of abusive partners, because until we heal it, we're still going to see it. Cards explain it, the Lovers card. They're the same ones coming down in different forms. It's patterns repeating. Let's use this deck. See, this was the card at the bottom when I pulled that. He'll save me. He'll love me. It all starts like that. They're very good at hiding what really is going on under the surface. And the women, and as she is saying now, is Myra, the women that they get with are the vulnerable ones. The ones that have that chink. The ones that, because actually they as the abusive male cannot do what they need to do with an aligned, grounded, healthy, balanced woman. They just can't, and that's why they pick their targets. It is like attracting like. The damage and darkness in her, it's almost like they merge. It's a merging of energies, and it's on different levels in different ways. So show me the connection between yourselves and Maxine and Ian. Look at that, the card of deceit. Deceit. Yeah, oh look at that as well. Those like the signs and the red as well. The red, see what I mean? Red flags. And those are the signs that I was telling you about that's near Keith Bennett's grave. The wooden signs, can you see? Indecision. We didn't learn it back in the, would it have been 50s, 60s? We didn't learn it back in the 50s and 60s. So we'll come back again and guess what? In fact, I'm not going to start Googling it. Wednesday, it's not going to be doing a video to keep Googling. We'll Google afterwards. Heart, yeah, a woman holding a heart. Heart on her sleeve. Unrealistic views of romance and relationships. Look at that. So they come back down. The soul merges in. I'm hearing the soul merges in. I'm also hearing it's the same frequency of entity that latches onto these people that have this chink in their armour, okay? It's very deep. It's deceit. It's choice. Right, I'm going to go down, I'm going to reincarnate again, I'm going to get it right this time. So she's put in that same situation. She's put in with her what she perceives as a good-looking man that has that bewitching essence about him. Because many women have said that about Huntley. And so it starts again. Right, where else are we going with this? What makes a woman kill? My flame on my candle is dancing. What makes a woman kill? What makes a woman kill, Myra? She's like a thirst. Snuffing out goodness because of the darkness within yourself. It twists you. It twists you. Life twists people. Life twists them. And it just spirals. She's showing me people around them that knew. I only know the bare basics of this case. I don't try when I'm channeling. For I'll go on and I'll get the date of birth and stuff and the pictures. I try to stay away from a Google search, if that makes sense. But she's showing me people around them. There's more people involved. There's more people involved. Oh, really? And some of these people involved are high-ranking people. And that could actually explain why there's a lack of funds. And why it was, and again, this isn't saying that they weren't to blame, but it's almost like, here, boom, take them too. We'll take, and they actually do that. They'll sacrifice a couple of people or a person. We'll take them too. I'm not going to go further into it. There's other people involved. This is a bigger case than what we think, and I think there's more children involved. She's saying Ian was part of certain groups. So a lot of it he didn't do with Myra. These were groups of men. I'm not going to look into it. I'm just not. But what I'm being shown is that Ian, there's more children, there's more involved, there's more people involved. Some of these people had the power to stop it, but didn't because they were part of it. What a shitty world at times. I am sick of the elite at the minute. Sorry, I am just sick of them. Absolutely sick to the back teeth, and I'm just feeling into this energy of not just elite, but just people that can stop this. Can you give me some cards on that subject, please, Myra? Whilst I was shuffling, I got the police service itself is actually going to collapse, you know. It's going to collapse. And then the sun card came out, and I'm like, what? The sun card came out, and I was like, what? The Hanging Man, the King of Wands, and the World. Maybe this is something coming. It's already here, actually. It's already here. She just showed me that recent case. God, I don't know her name. Sorry, apologies with the police. I don't even know his name, the policeman that did it. There's going to be more of it. There's going to be more of it coming out. There's going to be more of it. Get your popcorn ready. The Sun, the Hanging Man, and the King of Wands. And this is the toxic divine feminine, the toxic divine masculine, the toxicity within our patriarchal systems. And she's showing me people behind the scenes now trying their best. There's evidence going missing and all kinds. I'm going to be careful what I say on YouTube, but there's things going missing. There's things going missing. This is bigger than what we realise, you know this. This is much bigger than what we realise. Show me a card from this deck, please. She's saying Ian particularly was on a radar. She was on like a police radar. It was well known apparently, Ian. I don't know if it was Ian Brady. I think Ian Huntley was as well, wasn't he? You see, it's the same thing. Right, I'll tell you, I'm fuming now. It was the same with Ian Huntley, wasn't it? The school that he got interviewed with. Honestly, people know. We didn't know. Yes, you did. The candle I've got, it's dancing about victory. Let's keep pulling. Angel of love. Ooh. Right, the door to romance, door to love, the door to freedom. Victory. Storm warning. And the angel of love. The angel of love coming and telling us all, watching this video, for those of you that had that moment like I did where you just, got, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. We're having to hear this. We're having to see it because it's coming up. There's a storm coming. Victory, love wins. There's a storm coming. It's already here. It's already here. Storm warning. Take this back into your own relationships. Watch. She's saying to me as well, she's taking me to women that are single mums, and she says it's almost because it's changed. The time that she lived, you wouldn't have had many single mums unless dad got killed in the war or something like that, or died. Then she said they're becoming like other new targets, single mums that are on their own, that are struggling, that are vulnerable, mentally vulnerable, exhausted, and they're vulnerable to these men that want to come in. Not just men though. She said it can be same-sex relationships. Listen to those red flags. The storm warning's coming. This is for the whole bigger circle around the Ian Brady thing. It must play out in the way that it's meant to play out, but it's coming out. Saying it's kind of like symbolic that they struggle to find Keith Bennett, God, Ian, step back. Because it's symbolism of not just him being buried, so we can't find you. There's other stuff buried that we can't see, and we're not allowed to see at the minute. Right, what time are we on? What time are we on actually? Anything else to say? I've just stopped shuffling and I've landed on justice. I've just stopped shuffling and landed on justice. The legal system's coming under big, honestly, it's choice point. What else do you want to say, Myra? Let's have some water. I'm glad I've done this video. Are you glad I've done this video? She's not scary. Not as she is now. You know, people that walk around, oh, that's dark, oh, that's scary. You know what it's all about, really? The darkness within themselves. That's what you've got to know about those type of people as well. It's the darkness. Oh, that's dark. That's a dark video, isn't it? That's dark. No, the darkness is always within. Anyway, anything else, Myra? She's taking me back to the mall. Sorry, it's taking me some time just to process it. Because I don't want to be ghoulish on here. I don't want to be ghoulish in this video. She's taking me back to the malls. She's showing me a farm, and I'm not sure if it's that one that's in the middle of the road. What is the farm? Just let me see it play out. The farm. The body of Keith, it's in alignment with the farm. And again, it's awful this. As a medium, it's awful because you really don't get enough information. Especially when you're talking, but if you stood on where he's buried, either in front of you, behind you, or either side of you is a farm. There's a farm nearby. There's a farm, there's a deck, there's flowers that have wildly started growing that are seeds from heaven from his mum. She wants to talk about transition of people that have had a dark incarnation. She's showing me her transition, so when she's transitioned over, she's literally laid out, and it's almost like she's just, I've said this before in videos, where they're kind of like their soul's put to sleep to process it until the right time that they can start to gradually come to. And then she's like showing me herself like in an hall of records, and there's a really wise being in front of her. She's on this table, and there's like a wizardy looking man, and this hall of records, it's her records. It's like what is it? Shit records, and she's sat and she's looking, and he's going through it page by page. She's had many lifetimes, many lifetimes. There is no evil. There is evil. There is no hell. There is no hell. She's saying hell is on earth. Hell is on earth. People make hell, like she did. She's saying people create their own hell on earth. It's almost like she's showing me aspects of her life, and there were so many crossroads in her life that she, looking back, there could have been an opportunity to walk away. Ian blackmailed her. Have you seen after the first time, the first one? He blackmailed her. It's almost like if she could be alive today as that person, Myra, she'd have had more help earlier. There was none of that. I mean, I sit here now and our own services are crumbling, but back then there was no help, mental health help, there was no counselling, therapy, anything like that. It just feels like a sad, abusive, lonely existence for her. If you can hear music and Gary's on the phone and he's got it on loudspeaker, and I told him, I'm doing a video, I want to live in a bungalow. Tune coming in, let's all have a dance. See, it's interesting, when you live in a bungalow, you don't realise how, and it's taken us both the realisation that you don't realise how noise travels, because we lived in a bigger house, you see, upstairs, downstairs, and anyway, shut up, Claire. God, I'd hate watching, I'm joking. We've covered a lot in this video, I think, and I'm taking it really steady because, yeah. Anything more to say? He abused her. And this is, please don't. I know that, do you know, when I say stuff like this, it's not for my subscribers, it's for people external that will come in and go, she's blaming him, she's playing, no she isn't. She's showing me this. And if we want to learn by this, we've got to see the whole picture. She's also showing me her being abused by Ian. Very sad story, very tragic, very complex. She's showing me now when she's in prison and people visiting her and manipulating things that she said and secretly filming her, secretly taping her and being set up by journalists. She showed me a particular prison that she's in and the governor there was passing information on. Is it a male governor? There's a governor. Did they still call him that? Probably old fashioned, that governor. Anyway, the prison governor is sending him, yeah. You want to talk about prisons now, don't you? You can feel we're going into prisons and female prisons. Talking about prison life for females. She showed me abuse of females by male prison guards. The denial of sanitary products. She said, I'm sharing you this not to feel sorry for me, but for anyone watching that is swaying down life of crime. Doesn't have to be child abuse, can be burglary, robbery, drugs, or is living a, because the thing is, we're all one decision away. We're all one decision away. We're all one decision away from prison life. We've all had a prison life within I know I've got incarnations where I've been in prison. We've all got ancestors that have been imprisoned and stuff like that. Female prisons. Noise in background. Female prisons. She said, you know, there shouldn't be prisons, should there, Claire? She said, when you think about it, there shouldn't be prisons. What? Hold on, wait a minute. Because actually, why is there prisons? Why have we lost ourselves so much as a human race that we've got prisons? Women's prisons, men's prisons, young offenders prisons. It says it all about where we're at, where we are, and how low we've sunk. And it says it all also, she's saying that many people feel comfortable in prison rather than out in the outside world. Going home to, I didn't want to say going home to prison, I wanted to say going into prison, but going home to prison feels comfortable to some people rather than being out in the big wide world. Why do we have prisons? Because we've lowered ourselves as a species through greed, through lust, through sex, through addiction, paranoia, through losing our sense of essence, our soul essence. She's saying when I passed over and I was shown my soul essence and the purity of it and how I'd come so far from myself through hundreds of incarnations, thousands of situations. She said, and we're all the same, we've all come away from that soul essence. And this is why we're all now trying to work our way back to it. It's always there, it never leaves you. We leave it. We leave it. It's finally the higher self, it's finally, there's a thread between you and it. She's showing me now that many people actually literally walk away from their soul. It's complex, is this? You've got your higher self, you've got your soul. Your higher self is the version of you that's been through all your lifetimes that is just waiting for us to catch up. And many people are choosing just to, it's almost like, number one, the soul can jump out and not want to be in the body, but it's still attached to the body. And then when the soul jumps out, it leaves the body open for other things, entities, etc. Yes, they do exist. Sorry, leaky eye. But when you look back at it, look forward at it, look higher at it, you realise the pain that we all cause ourselves right from the moment where we can take charge of our own destiny. We blame everybody. We blame him, her, them, it, they, society, the system. And she's saying no matter what you've gone through, you always have a choice. It can be easier to not feel we have a choice because it suits our present agenda as the victim, the abuser, the aggressor. People can get a kick out. We, as in her and Ian, got a kick out of being the abusers, the aggressors. We didn't want to change. But you can change. God, interesting, isn't it? Let's take some more cards from this deck and then we'll close it down. Wow. This is the Energy Oracle cards by Sandra and Taylor. A man holding a coin. On the moors, is a man on the moors laid down, holding a coin. This is about something more grounded for the future. The sun coming up. Seventh chakra, Archangel Uriel. The rising divine feminine. The book in her hand, the X-shaped records. Women, and remember, I'm not just targeting women in this video, I'm not targeting men, but this video is channeling a woman, okay, a fallen angel. That's it. It's a fallen angel. We are all angels. We are all light. We are also fallen angels. And there are many fallen angels amongst us. We're all a fallen angel in some respect. And then you start to look at your records, your X-shaped records, your past lives, your future lives, your present incarnations. The Magician and the Mirror. Who's looking back at you? Who's really looking back at you? A good, kind, giving person that's on top of their traumas. Many people can't look in a mirror, you know. Many people can't look in a mirror. They can't balance the different elements of themselves, the fire, the air, the water, the earth. The world is still in darkness, but gradually it's lighting up. As people's internal worlds light up, it starts to light the external world up as well. Does that make sense? So as people's external, as our internal world lights up, then the global world lights up. The world is starting to switch on, believe it or not. I know right now you can look out and you can think, God, but actually it's starting to switch on. People are questioning now. People are thinking. People are starting to look deeper. People are questioning the universe, the stars, the planets. What are past lives, Claire? How does it work, Claire? What are crystals? How can I cleanse a tarot deck? How can I work with tarot and journaling, Claire? How can I find out about my soul contracts, Claire? People are starting to question because people are starting to realise there's a deeper meaning going on, that there's something greater than them on the planet. What are these cards here that are for? Do you know, I picked my deck up and 4 cards fell off the bottom and I was going to put them back in because I wanted to shuffle. And I heard, no, don't, Claire. Look at the cards and read them. So I'm going to read them. This video is about a woman that was toxic, abusive, a murderer, a killer, an abuser. Okay? Queen of Swords. And I know that not always the Queen of Swords is that, but it's Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords can be representation of a lot of things. The harshness, the bitterness, the jealousy, the fear, the phobia, the I'm not good enough, I'm too thick, I'm too fat, I'm too this, I'm too that. The Queen of Swords. Having to actually now look at her shadow, the different aspects of her shadow. Having to really look at who she is, where she's come from. How do I get back home to myself? How do I get back home to myself? How do I get back home? How do I get my happy ever after? How do I go from this to having to dive in to my shadow to being able to look to my future to have my happy ever after? And there's also this. To go from this, we have to look in at our shadow. We have to purge our shadow. And shadow work is not doing a shadow journaling session. It's just not. It's a start, but it's not. It goes deeper than that. It goes into the blood, sweat and tears of healing. Real, true, life transformational healing. Having to really sit with your shadow. To then think about what you want for a world going forward, your own internal world. How you want your life to look. To then, and that is how you get your happy ever after. You get your happy ever after by facing this, diving into the shadow work, the real shadow work, not that silly happy clappy shadow work online. That's not shadow work. That's bull. It's BS. Three of wands. Then you start to focus on the future, itchy nose, and then that's how you get your happy ever after. Because otherwise all we attract in is the damaged men. And the damaged men, we've got the Ace of Cups at the bottom as well, love. Or the damaged women attracting the damaged men, and the damaged men attracting damaged women. It's a true fact. Everything is mirrors, everyone is mirrors. And they've parted the cards at the Fool, the new beginning. Do you know, there's so much with this video, isn't there? I could actually go on, but I'm conscious of making it too long. How do you do that, Claire? You go and you get healing, you get therapy, you get psychotherapy, you get proper spiritual healing, and you don't just do once, you keep at it, and you keep at it, and you keep at it, and you do everything you can to heal. We've got counsellors, therapists, spiritual healers, shamans, shamanic practitioners, cognitive behaviour therapists. We've got so much. We've got Great Mother Earth out there where you can go out there and pray, meditate. We've got gyms you can exercise in. We've got support groups, Alcoholics Anonymous. We've got abuse, and we've got groups for abuse. We've got all kinds of things out there. It's all out there. We just need to go out and get it. It's all out there. There's community groups, there's mums and tots groups, there's yoga classes. There's all of it's out there. So it's about going out there and getting it. Now I'm playing with my blouse. Right, I'm going to round it up. What time are we on? Let's have some more water. Let's round it up. I'm just Keith's Lee. I think Keith Bennett. God, I can't get it out. I think Keith. Did he have a speech thing? Keith Bennett. Sorry, there was something I couldn't say his name then. I think Keith Bennett has been around watching us because I'm just seeing him now going off with his mum. So that's closing that area down. the children are at peace as well. The children are at peace. But that's a whole different video about why a soul comes down to play, to play the abused, to be the abused. That's another video in itself. Anyway, closing this one down. So thanking Myra for stepping forward. So Keith's gone. Any other children that are around? Sending those back over Rainbow Bridge. Then thanking Myra. And we'll just send her back over as well. It's almost like the namaste. So my guy just went like that namaste. Thank you for getting to the end of this video. If you have, could you do me a rainbow? And I'd like a pink love heart, but I'm not going to be choosing. Any kind of, give me a rainbow and a love heart, or loads of love hearts, different coloured love hearts, to spread to the situation, to send to the children, to send to all involved, and to send to all situations within our world that need the love of the rainbow shining on them. And also to let me know who's got to the end. So do a comment like that, please. I want you to fill my comment section full of rainbows and love hearts. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more of this content, if that's piqued my interest, there is a playlist on my YouTube channel which is called True Crime, where I've channeled Jimmy Savile, Peter Sutcliffe, The Craze. It's there. We'll do further work with further people from this world. The next person I'm planning on channeling is going to be Roald Dahl. So we'll see what Roald Dahl's got to say. I think he's going to be talking about how books are getting changed, etc. Interesting topic. Controversial. Yay! But being boring. Anyway, like, comment and subscribe. Keep the comments balanced. Share the video if you want. You may want to have to rewatch this video and take notes. And I hope you've taken something from it. And I think that's it. What we're finishing on, 1 hour 27. Thanks for watching. Love to all. I'm glad we've done it. Yes. Thanks for watching. Love to all. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye.